Coney got used to the kids cast at the Little League World Series, so he exited stage left to go find some kids that he can sit and talk with. We're appreciative of you sitting down here with us. We just had Mookie Betts on. I'm not sure if you heard any of it. It was as good an in-game player interview as we've had. I mean,
not surprising,
right?
Not surprising at all. You know, obviously what he does on the field is obvious, but the way the mind works, the way he competes, the way he helps push his teammates to be better, it's really special to watch.
All right, so tell us about the 2022 Dodgers. As you see them now, you got through the whole trade deadline. You made a couple of acquisitions. The team you're playing, of course, made the big move, and they got Soto. But how do you feel you guys are situated right now for the rest of this season in the postseason?
Really good. I think, you know, obviously we've had a lot of team success so far this year, but even more than that, the special bond among this group really stands out. And I think early on in the year, I guess as Mookie may have touched on it, Freddie and Mookie kind of got guys together, and from that point on, just a team baseball up and down, both from our pitching staff to our offensive skill players, has been really, really fun to watch. And I think, you know, that was something we were sensitive to going into July.
Yeah.
Was, you know, just being very thoughtful about whoever we added into this group and this ecosystem and how it would fit. We feel really good about this group. We've got some guys coming back from injury, which we feel like will make us even stronger, but it's a really special group.
I had a player whisper to me, the best thing Andrew does here is create this culture in this clubhouse. You know, you're known as the analytics guy and all the numbers, etc. He's like, no, what Andrew does best is he figures out how this is all going to mix together. Like you're a chemist and you got this whole thing working. I want to let you listen to something that your manager said preseason. I'm sure you've heard this before. This is Dave Roberts on the Dan Patrick Show.
The Dodgers will win the World Series if
we play a full season and there is a postseason.
Wait.
We are winning the World Series in 2022.
So,
but I know where you're going with that.
No, what do you
win the World Series this year? Put it on record.
You are winning the World Series.
We are winning the World Series.
Which I love. I love Dan's. Wait. What?
Yep.
What'd you say?
Right, because he's used to getting the non-answer, and he got the answer.
What do you think about somebody in your organization, your manager, saying that?
I loved it. It's different from me personally, but I loved that he did it. You know, Dave's got that energy and that confidence, which I love. And obviously, it's what all of our goals are.
Of course.
And so, you know, I love that he came out and said it. I told him after he did it. It's not something I'm very good at, but I love that he did it.
You know, it's interesting because Alex Anthopoulos also spent some time here after Toronto and before going to the Atlanta Braves, and he talks about that chemistry as well in that clubhouse. This is very similar to the culture they've built there, and then you get Freddie Friedman coming here, and all of a sudden it's like, let's watch the game, let's enjoy the game, let's play the game the right way, and it's really paid off in a major way.
Yeah, I agree. I think, you know, obviously JT's been here a long time, and it's been a huge part of the culture that we've had here. But adding in Mookie, and then with Trey, and then with Freddie at the end, you know, really took kind of the accountability, and like you said, playing the game the right way and playing the game. You know, Freddie kind of put some pressure on guys to post and go out there and play in a good way. And I think the combination of all of that has led to a really special dynamic.
Well, the 1-2 pitch, or the pitch, the 1-1 was called a ball, so it was 2-1. Makes it a lot more difficult for a pitcher. Garcia then threw a strike in there on a close one. Now it's 2-2 to Muncy. Everybody talks about your mind and how you, before you make a decision, you go through all the different machinations. Is that true?
It's definitely a very collaborative environment. I want people's thoughts and input. And yeah, I mean, I think it's important to make sure we're not missing an angle and really talking through and discussing.
But how about you individually? Like, do you have a, because when you said, yes, we, I thought you meant like all the people in your head, but you're talking about all the people around you.
We don't have enough time for all the people in my head. Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, there are certain decisions that are more on the extremes, 70-30. Those are easy to make.
Right.
It's the ones that are closer to the middle where, yeah, I think there are a lot of machinations and a lot of back and forth, and spending a lot of time and just being as thoughtful as we can with the bet we make. Because that's essentially what we're doing. We're making a series of bets and trying to make it as thoughtful and good of a decision as we can.
And I know this question is going to be really difficult to answer because there's a lot of things, but once he looks at one in the dirt, from your first days in Tampa to now, like what have you learned about yourself and this whole process?
Everything.
Right.
I mean, it's hard for me to remember 3 days ago. I think we can ask Eduardo what I've learned in that time period.
And that's actually where I wanted to go with this, because if you're a young general manager or an aspiring general manager, what would your advice be to that young GM?
I think it's communication. I think it's to players, to staff, to people you work with. I think it's communicating and not assuming anything, and then being really curious. And there are a lot of decisions we make, even non-decisions, are decisions. And so they're constantly coming up. And I think being really curious and being a really good communicator are really important skills to make people feel vested, which they should be and are. And then just being really thoughtful about it from different angles. Kind of crudely speaking, that's what I'd say.
So as you look forward to the next few weeks and then the postseason, what are the biggest decisions that you have to make?
I mean, I think just figuring out our pitching staff. It's been elite this year, and we have a lot of really talented arms. We have a good number of really talented arms coming back, and it's about how to put together the best 13-man pitching staff we can. Every year is unique and different, and for us, it's about kind of compiling the 13 most talented we can, and then Doc, Mark, Connor McGinnis, Josh Bard, Danny Lehman do such a great job of deploying them in game, and so it's really just thinking through that and going through those different iterations.
Even with a 26-man roster, will you guys stay right on the 13, or would you go 14 knowing that there's no pitcher hitting?
Yeah, I mean, I think with the 13 pitcher limit,
14 is not an option, is it?
No, it's not an option.
I would, though.
You would, though, right?
I mean, we have a pretty set offensive lineup for the most part, and so not a bunch of platoons or guys that will hit for. And so, yeah, I would lean that way. It's one of those things just across the industry. We've seen a lot of pitcher injuries, and again, we don't have enough time left in this segment to get into all of it, but it's very nuanced and very important for us to all be really thoughtful about and figuring out how we can all collectively do a better job.
Let's get to the really important stuff. Driver or dinker when it comes to pickleball?
I've learned more patience.
You have to be.
Right. I've learned more patience, which isn't a strength of mine in general. And I always wanted to just come up and hit hard, and I've learned how to let it come to me a little bit.
It's a great form of exercise.
It really is.
I love it.
I love
your kids play,
competing.
Your wife play?
Yeah, wife plays. Our oldest has actually played in a few tournaments.
Really?
Yeah.
I've heard the beef when it comes to fantasy football. You have so much here on your plate with this. Yet, who won your fantasy league this past year?
It was a bad year last year. The amount of trash talking that comes from it is worth it in and of itself. And I joke with our players, they spend half as much time preparing for a game as they did for a fantasy draft. I don't think we'd lose.
So you didn't answer the question.
Who won it?
Who won it last year? When you get knocked out, you just stop paying attention. It may have been Kirsch again. It's really annoying. He's won a couple times, and it's tough.
So Joey Gallo left New York, obviously, and there was all sorts of struggles. We've done a bunch of Yankee games. We know Mooney really well, all that stuff, and yet you brought him here, and he just tried to lay a bunt down here. This is a guy that obviously can do a lot of things, but hitting the ball over the wall is one of them. Bunting's not generally what you think of in a shift. Get on base. What led you to say, you know what, we'll bring Joey Gallo here? What was that behind that decision?
Well, first of all, I think left-handed hitters really underutilize that play right there, and should be doing it way more, but that's an aside. I think with Joey, and again, so much of what we do is trying to assess, true talent of a player. And in our opinion, nothing had fundamentally changed that from a year earlier. Now, obviously, he wasn't performing, but there's a lot that goes into that, and felt like the physical talent was there, the type of baseball player with the defense he brings on the other side of the ball, just felt like it fit our team well. And with our hitting guys, with Robert Van Scoyoc and Brent Brown and Aaron Bates, in my opinion, they're as good as it gets. And so putting him into that environment, just a change of scenery also can really be beneficial. Sure. Coupled with the talent, we felt like it was a bet worth making.
So Andrew Friedman, what's that one stat that you gravitate towards when you look and you open your computer?
It's a good question. It's probably, so much of what we're trying to do is assess what will happen, and obviously what has happened informs that in a lot of ways. And so kind of forward-looking projections are something that I really gravitate towards, and poking holes in and asking questions and digging into.
Do you do anything compulsively? Like, can you just make a quick decision and order, I'll have coffee, ice cream?
Yeah, those 70-30 ones?
Yes.
It's easy. It's easy.
Pleasure to have you in the booth. Thanks.
Thank
Enjoyed
you.
it. Andrew Friedman.